on, everybody? It's Samantha Perry, Brian Nadeau, and Ron Nicoletti, and we are on assignment at Palm Meadows in Boynton Beach, Florida, for the Travers episode of Hoarse Prophets number 7. Kicking off Hoarse Prophets episode number 7, I got to sit down and talk with Junior Alvarado. Now, Junior, just 1 week prior to this year's Florida Derby, took a spill on the Gulfstream Park Turf course, and having sovereignty coming into that race, it was a very harrowing experience, and you don't know as a jockey if you're going to get that mount back or not. But that relationship between Mr. Bill Mott and Junior Alvarado has just proved to be so successful. It's Samantha Perry here with a very special guest, Junior Alvarado. And Junior, you're just the man of the hour. It seems like everybody wants to talk to you. Thanks for taking some time to chat with us today, and we miss you here at Gulfstream.
Hello, Samantha. Yeah, it's been, it's getting a little busier again. And we're getting closer to the Travers now. A lot of people want to do some interviews, but, it's been fun.
Well, it's exciting, at least, to talk about just such a magnificent horse. And I just kind of want to go back on March 23rd. That was the last time I saw you at Gulfstream. It was the last race of the day on the grass for Mr. Mott, and there was a spill, and I saw you leaving on an ambulance. And at that point, I can't imagine what's going through your head.
Yeah, it was a scary, scary time, scary moment. Like I remember getting up after after I got thrown off of the horse and, getting in the ambulance and, we were heading first to the junction. I want to make sure, I knew I was in a lot of pain, but I was like, maybe just for the moment, maybe just because I hit the ground hard or whatever, but then, I stay in the junction, try to take everything, all my silks and vest stuff, and, the more time goes by, we just getting worse and worse. So I was like, gosh, I mean, this cannot be happening. So go to the hospital, and they did that x-rays, and they say you have a fractured scapula. It's gonna take you 4 to 6 weeks to heal. So felt like the world at the moment was kind of crashing on me. Like I could just not believe that was happening, like 5 6 days before I had to go into the Florida Derby riding. For me, I knew what we had. That horse was special. So I was just thinking that race, and then even farther, like I won't probably be able to make the Derby. And it was pretty, like, like mentally, like I think that was really killing me, what was happening at that moment.
Yeah, and you came back pretty quickly at Keeneland, but it's not like you came back to the races and it was like win, win, win. You won 3 races before you won the Kentucky Derby. Like, that's insane to me.
Yes, I think, I think, business wise, and the sport, and it well, you roll horses, I think the hard part for us sometimes is just mentally. And I think, when I got the call from Mr. Mott the next day, when I got released from the hospital, he says, like, listen, do whatever you need to do to recover. And, whenever you get back, if it's before or after the Derby, you're gonna get back on your horse. You're gonna ride that horse back, and any other horse you've been riding. You got all the horses back, so do it however you need to do it. Don't rush it, but like, just know that you're getting your horses back. And I think that helps me big time to do the things how I'm supposed to do it. Just focus on one thing without me getting worried about, like, okay, I'm not gonna ride this horse back again. I'm not gonna get in this horse again. And you get more mentally depressed, and I think that all reflects in your body. And for me, just to being focused on one thing, knowing that I'm gonna have all those horses back, like I say, exactly in 3 weeks, I was already riding back in races. So, I thought everybody was kind of shocked how quickly that went. Recovery was pretty fast, and
Yeah.
I was good to go before the Derby.
And it's probably was scary for you. I mean, you have such a great relationship with Mr. Mott in general, but that's still scary when you get that call, like, okay, you'll get all the horses back, but it it's still at the back of your mind. You're probably thinking, well, if Manny Franco wins the Florida Derby, that still is like
Abs-
in your mind, right? As you're watching.
Yeah, I was watching, and I was hoping for a good race. To be honest, I was like, well, best case scenario for me, he runs good, he doesn't win, good race, because I know he's not fully cranked neither. I knew that because, like I say, our goal was the Derby.
Right.
So, you have that kind of hope, but at the same time, you want the horse to win because you know he's good, and you want the horse to run, like I say, fast, because then you're going into the Derby, and you want to know that the horse that you're riding is right. But yeah, I mean, I said, like, yeah, if he wins, and then they're really gonna take him off. It was just, yeah, it was just like I say. It was very tense when I was actually watching the race,
Yeah.
develop, and like, I think, it was a great result. He didn't win, and like I say, we got to build up from that. I got to build up from that race too, and like I say, I just think it was just meant to be that way, and make it like a good story about it.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And those first few races back have to be like kind of hard as well because like your first winter back was like Top Gun Rocket. And it's like finally it's here, but do you still, I mean, you still probably have doubts too, right?
Yeah, I mean, you get back, and you feel good, but it's still, like, like, when I went down, I was winning races, so you always feel like, okay, I was off for 3 weeks, I get back to ride, 2 days has go by, I think it was three days goes by, but those 3 days doesn't feel like 3 days, it's like
Oh,
it
three
feels like
years.
it's being even longer, and it's like, I mean, do I lost the touch? Like, you start guessing yourself for whatever reason, but I got the win, like, you get the conference right back up again, and you say, okay, I just needed just the right horse,
Right.
and you build up from that.
Yeah, and that's great to Mott has that trust in you, and it's just shown over the years that fantastic relationship you two have had, really.
Yeah, just being that relationship, we've been successful together, and like I say, it works, and but it goes a little, farther than that, because like I say, for a trainer to call you day after an incident, and say, what he said to me about, don't be worried about it, you get all the horses back, you rarely hear it, and it just, meant a lot to me, to be honest.
Right. So since then, you've won the Derby, you've won the Belmont, and I find it interesting now, and maybe and you can take me through this. Sovereignty's kind of seemed to have just unlocked a different gear now because he used to kind of be a bit immature and lag back a bit, but in the Jim Dandy, he jumped right on the bridle. Do you think that's his maturity, or is he just becoming a monster?
Yeah, I think that's, we thought that was, eventually was gonna come up, it just was a matter of time, like Bill doesn't like to push a horse, he likes them to get there on their own, and when he showed that dimension at the Belmont, he was a little closer than even in the gym down that he broke even sharp and put himself up there, like, I think that's gonna be probably the new way he's gonna be running. He's gonna break good, and put me right there. Kind of stuck in positions on kind of tactical speed, which is it makes my job easier, and like I said, makes him even more dangerous since he doesn't have to make too much ground from the back.
And with the field now drawn, obviously it's just five horses, and there is a lot of speed to your inside with Bracket Buster and with Magnitude. That has to give you a lot of confidence going into a field like that you can be closer. You won't let him get away from you.
Absolutely. I you say, if he breaks the same way he's been breaking the last couple races, I'll let it, I'll let it go at least into the first turn, just to make sure those two horses use the speed. If they don't want to use their speed, my horse break how he's been breaking, I'm gonna come down, and then I'll take their spot. They don't want to take it, but if they really, they will have to really use the speed. I'm not gonna let them take it easily. I don't want to take anything away from my horse. And like, as many people have seen, the last two races, he came out of there pretty sharp, and moving forward. So I want to put, like I said, me being on the outside, I get to watch everything, and like I say, I'm gonna be able to put pressure whenever I want, and however I want it.
How has he grown up just from the win at Churchill uh, to now? I mean, he's grown. He looks like he's put on 200 pounds of muscle, and he's just a man among boys now. It seems like.
Yes, that's how he's been. Every time I get to ride, I'm like, did it grow in front of my eyes when I don't see it? But I just think, a lot of good horses does, he blows every time he goes in when he gets into the paddock and I jump on, and I mean he just focus, it's funny because if anyone who get to meet him in the stall, he's a very funny horse. He's kind of like a joke, he likes to joke around in the stall. He'll nibble you, he doesn't bite you, he'll show his teeth, his smile, his cream and things like that. Once he's in the paddock about to run, he doesn't even look at me. He's like a man in a mission. He's 100% focused. Nothing else will really get his attention. He's know he has a mission. He know he has something to do. And like I said, I mean, I love the focus he gets into it when he goes to run. And like I say, every time I get on, it seems like he gets bigger and stronger. So, I love that part of him because, like I say, he just give me more confidence because I know he knows what he's supposed to do and he knows what he's going to do.
uh, he used to not be a very good workhorse. Maybe I don't want to call him lazy, but he knew where the wire was in his breeze. And talk me through the breeze. You were in company. You were on Fort Nelson, and Neil, who's been with Bill Mott for a very long time, was on Sovereignty. Who he gets on all of Bill Mott's nice horses. So that's a great relationship they have, and that just goes to show how important exercise riders are. But you broke. Take me through the work because you broke off and you never could even get close to him.
Yeah, it was, I thought I was gonna get a good chance. I've been working this horse for Nelson before even he break his maiden, and he's a good workhorse. He will work 47, 46 if I even ask him to do. Bill said you just lay there like three-quarter like by his hips just to push push your the other horse along a little bit, and when you turn for home, you guys enjoy and finish up the work together. That was never the case, and like I could feel my horse working good, working good. I don't get any closer to sovereignty. And I'm looking his action, and he looks like he's just into a gallop. He doesn't look like he's actually any effort. And I can feel my horse moving along. So like, well, maybe when I turn for him and I ask my a little bit, he might gonna go right after him. Nothing. Move my hands, motion is motion is motion. And I know my horse is working good. It's a good work for my horse. And like I said, I couldn't even get that. That was the closest I could get to sovereignty. And like I said, he was just a gallop. Then, I know Neil before he hit the wire, he kind of moved his hand just a little bit, and like that was not even a full whole second. Like he just would open up 3 lanes very quick on me without even really trying hard. He just
Yeah.
tells you how good he is. So he was a very good work. Like I said, I think since he started training, heading into the Derby, he got into that work schedule with Mr. Mott. I don't think he was really doing much with him until
Mhm.
then, and now he has a job and he knows how to do it. And like I say, now he has grown and now he's taken to it.
And now you know what every other jockey feels like when they're in a race with you. You just watch him go by.
Yes, yes,
You never
exactly.
get to see that side of him. So yeah, you got to see what everybody else is watching now.
Yeah, that was a first for me. Yes, absolutely.
Well, it's got to be so exciting. We're all so happy for you and the team, of course, with your success and with sovereignty. And it's still a horse race. You still have to line up, and everybody has a fair shot. But he's really just, I mean, stamping himself as potential. Just, I mean, he already is a superstar, but I mean, to be make history, honestly.
Yes, he just like I said, I mean, we're gonna face, all four different horses have never run against us, and you gotta respect them all. They made it to this point because they're all good horses. And but I just have to say, you have to trust my horse, and if he comes with his A race, that each I think it should be enough, especially in a mile and a quarter. Not even a lot of good horses can get mile and a quarter. They might be able to get a good mile and an eight, but mile and a quarter is just a little extra different there. Then it takes a little more than a talent sometimes, and I just think my horse has that for him going. So I'm pretty excited for Saturday.
Do you take it like does this race feel any different than any of the other ones? Like how do you approach, like before the Derby, before the Belmont and coming into this? Does it change at all or do you just keep the same?
No, like I think like a lot of people ask me like is pressure now? Like I just think like I didn't even have much pressure when I was going into the Derby. I was just more like excited. I couldn't wait. I couldn't really like find out if he was gonna be as good as I thought, and he did. And I think that was probably the most I got. Like, I'm not even gonna talk pressure because I didn't have pressure from Bill. I didn't have pressure from the
Right.
owner neither. So, but it just, right now, I mean, I can say like we knocked out like the Derby and the Belmont, which was probably the Derby, the biggest races for a 3-year-old. So, I mean, I think everything else from now on is a plus,
Right.
and I mean, but for sure, we'll try and we'll try to take them. But there is no pressure. Hopefully, like I say, if he's come with a game, it's gonna be very hard to beat him.
How much ice cream have you had since winning the Derby?
Well, I was even lucky to get the Hildebrand
Right.
sponsorship. So that is something that I don't, I have no miss at home. I have ice cream now. I have my own ice cream. I have different kind of ice cream. But yeah, that's one of my obsession. I love to have ice cream. I could have ice cream for dinner instead of a normal meal.
They did like what, junior mint or something like
The
that?
junior mint, yeah, the junior mint,
Is
yeah,
that your
junior
favorite
mint.
flavor, or what's your favorite?
Yes, to me in the summertime, I like that because when how it kind of cools you down. I love it. I love it. But it's chocolate. That's whatever my go-to ice cream is chocolate.
They have to send you some like after these races, right? Like send you like
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
or
yeah.
you're just like done.
Yeah, they bring me all the time like 10 to 12 package of ice cream. So like I say, I have plenty.
Well, you better bring some back to Gulfstream when you get here.
I will. I will.
All right, awesome. Well, Junior, thank you so much, and best of luck on Saturday.
All right. Thank you, Samantha.
Ron, it's so fun to catch up with Junior Alvarado. We get to spend so much time with him during the winter here at Gulfstream Park, and great to hear from him today.
Yeah, just a great guy, good family man. Got to meet his whole family, and he just hangs out. Always got a smile on his face, and he just keeps winning $1 million races left and right.
He does. We love it. Now, the whole reason we are here on location in Boynton Beach at Palm Meadows, the offsite training center for these amazing equine athletes here at Gulfstream Park, is because you got to catch up with trainer Beau Chapman.
Yeah, I think he's an up and rising star. Really had a lot of good things to say. He's had a lot of foundation. Glad he's out on his own. So let's check it out. I'm here with trainer Beau Chapman. Up here at beautiful Palm Meadows. And Beau, just getting your license, just starting out. Tell us how things have been.
No, it's been great. I mean, obviously I was assistant for a few years before, and I always wanted to branch off and kind of do my own thing. But it's not a huge change. Obviously there's a lot more pressure because I'm the one gonna have to answer to the owners and whatnot. But I was really lucky and grateful to be able to be an assistant for some great people and have a little bit of experience under my belt before I went out on my own. I was born in California. My dad trained out there, so I've been around it my whole life. I guess it was kind of bred into me, and so I started working on the track, and my first main assistant job was for Dallas Stewart. And I was very lucky. I got a little bit of his Lucas lessons out of him, and then I worked for a few people after that, and kind of just went from there. Safi, I mean, if you just look back at his numbers and how he got started, I mean, it's very impressive. He's not he's young still, and his numbers and how his horses ran and how he claimed that Math Wizard horse that kind of put him on the map. It was a great opportunity to work for him, and I was really, really lucky to get into that spot. And it really kind of set me up for the future where I am now, because I got to meet some people, got to meet some owners, and then whenever I branched off on my own, they kind of saw that I was running horses, and I got a couple phone calls, and it kind of put me in a good spot.
Also, you worked for Christoph Clement, and tell me what you learned there a little bit.
Yeah, so whenever I went up to New York for about 1.5 years, and I worked for him like a foreman assistant, and I was really lucky to work for him as well. He has a very European style of training horses, and like one thing, I try to pick up little things from each trainer I work for, and one of the main things that I remember him saying, like with turf horses, you can undertrain them, you don't have to push them as hard. So now till this day, like even in the mornings, or if I'm picking a race out for a horse, I always think to the back of my mind, like, okay, Christoph said, oh, you can kind of back off on a horse that runs on the turf, and just little things like that. And when I work for Safi, he's kind of an out-the-box trainer, and he thinks a little bit differently than other trainers, so I was very lucky to pick up things from Safi as well.
The serious question of this is how you deal with owners. How do you learn that?
Yeah, so that's kind of a day-to-day thing that I'm learning with right now. I try to be very transparent with them, because at the end of the day, like this sport, you have to be given the opportunity to show your talent, because if you don't have the horse, you're not going to be winning races. It's not like a sport where you're a basketball player and you're the best out there and you can show your talent. You have to be given the opportunity, and then you have to prove yourself with the horse that you have. At the end of the day, I mean, the sport's very competitive, and I'm a young trainer, so I mean, obviously I have to prove myself, and there's a lot of pressure in that aspect that I can be able to compete with these big guys out there. But I mean, that's kind of the name of the game, and I want to try to be as competitive as I can and aggressive as I can in the claim box. And if I can improve off certain trainers, or if I can kind of keep the horse at the same level as they were prior, I mean, that'll always look good as well. I picked up a horse named Mr. Peaks. There's a race for him on the 29th, so hopefully all goes well and everything keeps going in the right direction.
Well, I think you're doing a great job, so thanks for having us up
Thank
here.
you so much.
And you know what? Good luck.
Thank you so much.
Mr. Ron Nicoletti, the oldest person at the track, and then trainer Beau Chapman, not the youngest, but very close to it. Now, Brian, you and I and Ron, we all got to know Pedro Casella a few weeks ago on our podcast just with HipicaTV, and they just do a fantastic job, but you also got to catch up with Alfredo Alonso.
Yeah, Alfredo started Video Hipica way back when. It's so successful. So we caught up with Pedro, as you said, a few weeks back. It was great to catch up with Alfredo the other day, to hear him and hear how he started and what he's become today. So we'll check that out now.
Happy to be joined now by Alfredo Alfonso of Video Hipica. And Alfredo, thanks for taking some time. I know it's a busy day for you, but thanks for taking some time and stopping over.
Thank you for having me, guys, and it's busy for you as well.
Yeah, it is busy for us as well, but we caught up with Pedro Casella. We wanted to reach out for you. I want first, Alfredo, give everybody a little idea of what you kind of do with Video Hipica.
Well, I started Video Hipica, Brian, in 2006. It was a website only.
Yeah.
The social media came after, like 5 or 6 years after, and was a website with replays at Venezuela of the races, handicapping, instant results. At that time was a pioneer website, you can say that, with a few others at Venezuela. So I did that like a hobby at that time.
Did you ever think that it would grow to what it's become today? We were just talking off the air that turning a hobby into a job, into a profession, I mean, it's pretty awesome.
Yes, it turned into a profession and a job at that time, but the website was more popular in Venezuela than is here, because my social media growth, but collecting bettors and also fans in other country and with the language change is not easy, so I have been doing that in the last 10 years.
Did you always, growing up or as a young man, did you always want to get involved in racing? Did you have a racing background?
Well, I don't have a racing background. My mother was watching TV when I was like 6 or 7 years old, and kind of picked 6 at Venezuela at the time, and she was rooting, for a ticket that she did. I remember still the name of some of the horses that ran that day, because at Venezuela at that time the TV broadcast put those races live. So that is how I, fell in love with horse racing, but not expected to be, working on horse racing. At Venezuela, when I was doing Video Hipica, at some point I created a YouTube clip. But I was behind the cameras. I was not in front of the cameras. Okay. So I was the producer of that with a person that was very relevant in the U.S. horse racing at Venezuela. And I got a sponsor for the website because it was very popular. That is the only sign that I have there, But when I arrived here, because the circumstances when I, migrate from Venezuela, so that is the reason I'm doing this.
So you mentioned personalities over there. Is there anybody that you've kind of looked up to or maybe modeled or patterned your on-air personality after?
Well, at Venezuela, I admire, his name was Ali Khan, and also a person that's supporting him a lot of time, Hector Alonso, and that is the person that I work with, Hector Alonso. But Ali Khan was a race caller like Pedro, but he was also a producer, and he created a generation of bettors at Venezuela and horse racing fans, and I think that it was, very notable.
You've been doing this for a little minute now here at Gulfstream. Got a favorite horse or two that kind of just you always think about when you think Gulfstream Park Racing?
Well, when California Chrome came here, I was a big fan since he won the Kentucky Derby. Before that, but Arrogate was winning that Pegasus World Cup. That is the best horse that I have seen, And now Sovereignty is the other horse, you know, but Arrogate before Sovereignty. These are the two horses, the better two horses that have run here.
Do you have any advice for the younger generation that might want to get into, maybe not even horse racing, but get into social media, get into television and things like that?
Well, the advice is you need to be perseverant. And that is the first advice that I can give to those people. And also, you need to be respectful because these professional jockeys, trainers, even the horses, it's a risky profession, you know, to do that, and you need to respect that. So you need to be perseverant, you need to be constant, and also respectful.
Alfredo, we know of Video Hippico, but where else can we find you? I know obviously you're big on social media as well.
Well, not too big, I can be bigger. On X, Instagram, and Facebook at Video Hippico. I created a YouTube channel where I'm posting handicapping, free for everyone, and you know, expanding a little bit, even in English. So at Video Hippico at YouTube too.
I like it. All right, thanks for stopping by. We appreciate it.
Thanks for having me, guys.
The hardest working guy at Gulfstream Park. I mean, he is everywhere. He's posting videos. He's, you know, translating for us. You know, we have a lot of Spanish jockeys. He does a great job. If you need something, you call Alfredo and he's there. I'm glad has so much success.
Now, on the theme of Travers weekend here, guys, it's a very, very exciting weekend up at Saratoga and right here at Gulfstream Park as well. But I just am curious, Brian, your thoughts on the Travers.
Well, I mean, certainly the Sovereignty is going to be really, really tough to beat. 5-horse field, he lays over them with class. Magnitude is an interesting new shooter for Steve Asmussen. He's won 2 races decisively. He came back off the layoff and a little bit of an injury to run so well. So he seems to be the main danger, but at the end of the day, I just think the class and the grade 1 talent of Sovereignty is going to be too much.
Ron, Sovereignty is a horse that admittedly I have not been on the bandwagon of, but you have since the very beginning.
I have since the beginning. I was really enamored with his performance in the Fountain of Youth when he won the Fountain of Youth. I've been following him all along, and Junior rides him great. He's very patient, and if you watch the races, you can see he can be up front. He can come from off the pace. See, it's sort of like push-button jock. I mean, a horse, excuse me, and the fact that he's only facing 4 rivals makes him look pretty tough to me.
A huge weekend in Saratoga, a huge weekend here in Hallandale Beach, Florida at Gulfstream Park. Brian, we have a mandatory Rainbow Six payout on Sunday, and it features in the sequence the Benny the Bull.
Yeah, and those Sunday mandatories have been so huge, well over $1 million. We want to thank everybody that always get involved. Benny the Bull, 7 furlongs, the distance that we all kind of think and know is Shaq Diesel's distance. Ronnie, he's on the outside. He draws perfectly in there. The gang is all kind of here in the Benny the Bull. What do you think?
Yeah, I went with Shaq Diesel just because of all the things you said. You know, 7 furlongs is definitely in the horse's game. And he's going to stretch out. He's got a good post, and I just think he's the one to beat. But that's horse racing, so we'll see what happens. Do you single that horse in the Rainbow Six? That's the question. Maybe you got to ask Rainbow Ronnie.
Well, Rainbow Ronnie isn't even going to be here. You're leaving us to go up to Travers.
That's right. I forgot. I'll be up at Saratoga. I'll be sending down some information if I find anything.
Yeah, he'll be sitting in the hot tips, huh, Brian?
Yeah, signing books up there too, right? DQ'd at the dogs?
Well, yeah, DQ'd at the dogs, the old button for fun and profit. Also, I was almost shocked that Samantha didn't get me in, that I'm the oldest guy at Gulfstream, but she did get it in. So I'm proud of her for that.
Might be the oldest guy at Saratoga too this week.
Good cheers. Thanks, Brian.
He might have one here as well. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in with Hoarse Prophets episode number 7. Enjoy your week and enjoy your weekend.